morning and welcome to the Senior Hour, which is sponsored by Comfort Keepers in Home Care and Advanced Audiology. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host Jean Dorio, Dr. Jean Dorio, who is stuck in traffic, but we don't know where. Anyway, we're on your hometown station, KHTS. This is a show for, about, and by seniors, giving information to enhance one's quality of life. And we have two guests this morning. Caleb Lunetta, who is KHTS News Director, which I find very interesting. Welcome.
It's all flash. It's not that interesting.
Okay. And then later in the hour, we'll be having Matt Nelson from the Boys and Girls Club, and he's going to talk about the upcoming Festival of the Trees. So, Caleb, what is a news director, and what do you do?
A news director basically goes around the internet every day and tries to find stories that are relevant to our community. So what you'll see on a regular basis from us is coverage of city council, the elections that are coming up. That's really important. And you'll see crime stories. You'll see, basically it's just seeing, getting your finger on the pulse for the community and trying to figure out what does the Santa Clarita community want to know about, what should they know about. And every day it's a new challenge, it's new obstacles, so I love it. I love my work, so it's great.
So what did you do to prepare for this, to be a news director? What kind of background and schooling, if any?
Well, I did go to school. I have a degree in political science, but the main thing was I got an internship here at KHTS, and then I had everyone here at KHTS, it's a growing experience. It's a learning experience. So I had the opportunity to be taught by some of the best people in Santa Clarita, news reporting and journalism. And then, I became a staff writer. And then eventually I became news director. But I'm not the only news director, I have to say. Lorena, if you're listening to this, she's my co-news director. She is the rock that the whole newsroom leans on. So as much as I wish I could say that I have the whole team on my back here at KHTS, Lorena is, at this point I think I work for her because she's amazing. So,
okay, well, we have some important information about our upcoming elections.
Yeah, we do.
And we have to urge everyone to vote.
Exactly. This is going to be one of the biggest elections in terms of already it's the most money that has ever been poured into an election season here in Santa Clarita. And then, there's so much help that's going on to make sure that people are voting this coming Tuesday. So now this is, the senior hour. So I wanted to, for all the seniors out there that are listening, one of the ways that you can go and vote. If you're worried about driving or you're worried about how would I get to the polls, and that's a concern for you, Uber, which is a rideshare app on your phone, is giving free rides all through Election Day for Santa Clarita residents. So you just...
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What a service.
Yeah, it's nationwide, but, it should be used by people here. And, in fact, Uber will actually help you find your polling place as well. So even if you don't know where your polling place is and you're registered, Uber will actually help you, drive you there, and take you home.
That is kudos to Uber.
Yeah.
Really, because normally that's an expensive way to get around if you don't drive yourself or take a bus or whatever. I think I don't know whether the taxis cost more or not, but I know that Uber is not inexpensive at all.
No, it's not even. But it's free. It's free today. So or on a Tuesday. So cheap already, and then they're just. It's a great service that they're doing. And then on top of that, if you're looking for more information about this year's election, this Tuesday's election, KHTS is going to be providing all-day coverage of the election from the polls open at 7 a.m. here in California, and they close at 8 p.m. So throughout that entire time, we'll be doing coverage. And then I'm one of the lucky team members that gets to be here till 2 a.m. covering the election.
Now, why do you have to stay until 2 a.m.?
What you're going to see is this is going to be, not only is the whole country going to be watching this congressional race, but you're going to see they're going to want to count every vote. And the primaries, that was even smaller, and that one went until 3 a.m. on our coverage. We declared the winner the next morning because it was just too late. And this one's the general election, so
it's going to be even bigger and
yeah.
longer.
But still, even if you guys aren't going to find out who the winner is on the night of the 6th, you guys should still follow us at KHTS AM-1220, 98.1 FM, and then we'll also have on our Facebook, our website, on our Twitter, we'll be providing live coverage and updates. We'll have people in the field doing interviews, interviewing candidates, announcing winners. So it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun day, and everyone should. It's so important that you vote this November 6th.
You know, that would be interesting to interview the candidates.
Oh, it's great.
I bet it's a once in a lifetime experience, isn't it?
It is, and it's interesting because you get to, you see the candidates that are just on the ads that are on the discussions online, and sometimes you just don't get to see who the candidate really is as a person, and it's amazing to have that that insight into who they are and why they're doing this. Because most people won't have a cynical view of politics, but you can actually, once you meet these people, they actually have a heart for public service, and it's just amazing to be able to not only interview them but see them also then go on to hold office. So that's another part of being a news director. I get to see that. Yeah. So yeah.
That's incredible. And you also do you get to go on trips and visits to different places as far as being a news director?
Yeah, actually, I went. Me and Michael, who's one of our staff writers here, we went on the KHTS Sacramento trip, which was great.
Nice.
I got to meet so many great people on that. Get to hear, you never see the stuff that makes the the TV news that people in Sacramento are really dealing with. And on that KHTS Sacramento trip, I heard about a 2-hour-long lecture, I want to say, about the importance of center medians on the freeway and how these guys are dealing with stats and millions and millions of dollars and trying to make the safest roads possible. And it's just interesting because usually when you see how the sausage is made, you just you hate what's on the other side of that. But this time, it was great because it goes so unappreciated. So that was a great trip, and then
Yeah, I've been on several of those trips.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay, so you know all about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you're right, you do meet a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
Because you go into the area where you can hear the legislators talking, actually getting up and speaking to the audience. And yeah, it is a lot of fun. It really is, and it is really a trip worth taking.
It is 100%, and
it is.
Again, it's an annual trip. We're having ours again next year. So if you guys are in, we just got back from our KHTS Washington D.C. trip, where we walked around with our current congressman, the incumbent Steve Knight, and he showed KHTS around the Capitol, and they got to meet with, so many people. In D.C., people don't realize, but for the Department of Transportation, this I-5 corridor is so important that even someone 3,000 miles away, the department.
I was on the I-5 yesterday, and it right now is a mess. It is. Oh.
Well, that's why you don't have your co-host right now, right?
Oh, he's coming right now.
Oh, he just came in.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
But he was stuck
it's fine.
in traffic.
I'll give up my mic. It's fine, I guess. I had my moment in the spotlight. So, but yeah. So.
No, talking about the I-5, I was on it yesterday to get over to our attorney's office, and I thought, will I ever get here? Because you never know which side you're supposed to go on, because there's barriers here and there's lanes here, more barriers here, more lanes here, and it's scary. It really is. because
But
you
that
don't
is
know.
news, isn't it? Putting in an extra lane to think that it's going to be able to fix our traffic problems. Not one bit.
I'm an objective journalist. I just report on what's going on.
But
So
I think it's a valid point that Caleb that Barbara is bringing up. Is it really going to help that much? I mean, I would rather see some metro go in the middle, so that we can flow people through that, as opposed to putting an extra lane in. What happens when that overflows? Which is going to be pretty soon, isn't it? That's going to be news.
yeah, in case you're wondering, we're talking about the extra HOV lane that is going in the I-5. There's basically 3 projects that are going on that are a part of a number of general funding, bond initiatives, federal bond initiatives. But there's 3 projects going on that are being run to refurbish the I-5 corridor. However, there are people that are wondering, is this the best solution for traffic concerns, or is it just causing more problems than it's helping? So that's the ongoing debate, but we won't know until 4 more years, because the
Yes.
timeline is like that. So,
But Caleb, how about this? How much is it costing for that lane? Do you as a reporter, that's information that, as a citizen, I would like to know, is it worth it? And I would say it's probably in the billions of dollars.
I would imagine. I don't want to say the figure and be wrong. You're not wrong to say. I mean, there's the gas tax funding is going there. There's a number of transportation. Supposedly. So, and then, just the secretary for the Department of Transportation came out here, Elaine Chao. She came out here and she gave us a federal grant, presented it to Steve Knight. So you're not wrong to say the California, beautification project on the I-5 is not going to be expensive. So,
Well, it certainly isn't beautiful now. It's a mess.
yeah, but I mean, 20,000, something like that, cars go through, drive through that road a day. And the road hasn't been refurbished since the 60s or whenever it was built. It's been decades. So,
That's true. And the reason it's in such bad shape, too, is because the massive number of trucks that go through there.
yeah, from the
And
LA
the
Harbor
weight-
up through the Grapevine up to Northern California, and then vice versa.
And
So,
the inside, the first and the second lanes, those lanes are so cracked and so bumpy. It's unbelievable.
I mean, there's still
But-
damage from the Northridge earthquake that
Well,
you can
that's true,
visibly
too.
see. So,
That's true.
But in terms of transportation, and since this is the senior hour, and last week I took the Metro Link down to downtown Los Angeles.
okay.
And, as a senior, I got my great senior discount. It was round trip $7.50.
From here to downtown.
From here to downtown and back, which is great. But I made note of, if I were a senior like 95 and, not being able to run marathons, I would have trouble accessing the Metrolink trains. And so I look for services and how transportation services are provided for our seniors. So I would like you and get a task force together, and Caleb, and as a reporter, see how it is to get on the Metrolink and any other transportation system, and what it's like for those seniors who have some disability and trying to take that big step upward, getting into the Metrolink train. It's pretty powerful, and walking up the steps as well, finding a seat as well. And
That'd be actually very interesting. We could have one of our amazing camera crew people follow a senior on the Metrolink and see how it
great.
goes. That'd be an interesting story. We'd have to.
It would.
But again, talking about transportation, getting back to it, just to round out this bit here. Seniors, if you're listening, transportation on Tuesday, November 6th, Election Day, Uber is free. Work it. It's on your phone.
if you have one.
If you have
seniors.
one, talk to your kids if you need help with finding the Uber app. But anyway, November 6th, Election Day, so important to vote. Follow KHTS's election coverage, AM-1220, 98.1 FM, and at hometownstation.com.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Caleb.
Thank you for having me.
It was quite
It was
interesting.
Well,
yes. And now I've met another member of the KHTS team.
You got it, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
And we
me.
need to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
You already know Salt Creek Grill has the best food in our valley. Well, now you can have Salt Creek's gourmet meals catered to your event.
I'm Greg Amsler, owner of Salt Creek Grill. I'd like to introduce you to a new level of catering, featuring our catering director, Tamara Levine.
Salt Creek Grill creates memorable experiences, which leaves our clients and guests with a sense of awe and excitement. From menu development to picturesque presentation, you'll enjoy culinary excellence and creative catering.
Salt Creek Grill, a new level of catering.
Bullies. That's what a local newspaper called Katie Hill's campaign. It reported on her campaign's lies, misrepresentations, and relentless attacks. It's time for civility. Enough is enough.
Like you, I'm sick and tired of the political rhetoric from my opponent. It's meant to scare voters. So I want to tell you exactly what I believe. I'm Steve Knight, and I believe Social Security and Medicare must be protected. I believe our seniors have earned and deserve these benefits, and I believe that our veterans should get the best care available. That's why I fight for our seniors and our veterans every day.
Steve Knight served our country in the United States Army, spent 18 years as an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department, and still lives in Palmdale, where he and his wife Lily raised their 2 sons. Named one of the most bipartisan members of Congress, Steve Knight works across party lines to get results for our community, from protecting Social Security and Medicare to standing up for veterans. Steve Knight fights for us.
I'm Steve Knight, and I approve this message.
It's time to plan our company party. Tables, chairs, lights, and a dance floor. So much to coordinate.
AV Party Rentals has everything you need for your company party. Visit their large and beautiful showroom in Newhall and discover how AV Party Rentals can create that extra accent for your company party. No worrying, no stress during setup, because their delivery staff is friendly, efficient, and willing to go that extra step to make things easier. On Newhall Avenue and Carl Court, or plan your party online at avparty.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign, next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Hey, it's Aaron Del Torre checking in with today's weather forecast. Pretty cloudy all day long. We'll see daytime highs hover in the mid to upper 70s, and overnight lows going to drop down to the lower 50s. Coming up this Sunday at 2 a.m., clocks will be falling back 1 hour to mark the end of daylight saving time. Along with the changing times, our city officials say it's a good time to go over any annual emergency preparedness procedures, like changing the batteries in your smoke detectors or checking out your earthquake readiness kit. Full details on that at hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM-1220.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM-1220. Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Good morning and welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host,
Dr. Jean Dorio,
who was stuck in traffic and now he's here. Hooray. Yay. Anyway, we're talking on your hometown station, KHTS. And our guest now is Dr. Marwa Kilani, who is a palliative care doctor. And what is the subject today, my dear?
Well, we thought since we just discussed the elections and whatnot, I think we were talking about maybe having a little more discussion about elections and what to expect and
not
what's
only
coming
that,
down the pipeline.
The possibility, we're we're being inundated in the newspaper, on television, the radio, on a just constant basis about Medicare and a plan, the different plans that are available. And you know, when you see a full-page ad in our major newspaper in Southern California, I mean, that's really expensive to put that something like that in there. So you have to wonder, why are these folks trying to entice us? And it's like, we have all this stuff for you. Choose me, choose me, choose me. You know, get me, you know, sign up for me. And you have to wonder, well, what am I getting and what am I really losing? How can I read between the lines? But we're seeing, you know, we know that Medicare is divided into really two kinds of Medicare. You have the regular Medicare, which was established in 1964 or so, 65, and you have now Advantage Care, but it is HMO care. Mm-hmm. And the idea is to try to have a private company take a business view of health care for our seniors. So many of the ads are coming from either the Advantage Care or HMO Medicare, and also in addition, when you have regular Medicare, you get a supplement. And I have a supplement, and even the company I am with is out there advertising heavily, trying to get those people into supplements. For all of Medicare, they have palliative care. Mm-hmm. They have hospice care. So either way you go, you're going to have those available. But, you know, is there, you know, in terms of talking about an advantage for one and the other, you know, sometimes, you know, you get what you pay for. And with that thought in mind, you know, have you seen, relatively speaking, differences between the regular Medicare and the Advantage HMO Medicare?
I think in terms of coverage, it really depends on what you're getting as a package. Mm-hmm. So if you think of just straight Medicare, so just having plain Medicare, you get a Part A, which everyone gets when they turn 65, as long as they've been working individuals and paid into it. So there's the Part A. There's the Part B, which is at a added expense. And there's also the Part D, which is, you know, the medication coverage. In addition to the Medicare plan, you would either have to pay approximately 20% of your health care bill out of pocket if you did not have a supplement.
Correct.
And that's why if you're going with straight Medicare, not the HMO plan, you have to have a supplemental.
You should have one, but
because it's
it
very
is
expensive.
Yeah,
it's expensive either way, but it is an option. Yeah. And in fact, there are people who just have Part A and are kind of winging it without the Part B and the Part D, or without the supplement. Now, having a Medicare Advantage plan puts all of that Part A, B, and D together and packages it up for the individual subscriber. But it's at a cost where they are really limited in regards to the providers that they can access, or pharmacies, or home health benefits. So therefore, there's a little bit more restriction in utilizing those plans. So those plans would include like SCAN, Kaiser, trying to think of maybe like a Blue Shield HMO Medicare Advantage plan. So there's several plans out there, and it really depends on the individual. It depends on how sick they are. It depends on how much they're accessing the healthcare system, and it truly varies.
And affordability.
And affordability. Oh my goodness,
that's big time.
They can vary in cost. Some can be fairly nominal in price, and some can be, platinum coverage. Now, one of the things I want your listeners to realize is that these plans don't cover home care. So none of these types of insurances, or Medicare in general, does not cover any type of home care or caregiving.
Correct.
Which is
it will
important.
cover if you're discharged from the hospital. If you're discharged from the hospital, you can get home health care.
You can get home health.
You're talking about just regular home care.
Like caregiving.
Caregiving.
Right.
And,
24/7.
Or even a few hours a day.
Exactly.
That is right now out of pocket. But
Yeah.
there are some Advantage plans who are experimenting with providing home health for patients to keep them in their homes,
Yes.
keep them out of the hospital.
Yes.
And they're trying to see within the Advantage plans right now if that does save money or not. If we find that it does save money, then we're going to spread that into regular Medicare. That's of course what we're all hoping for.
Right.
And I think we are starting to realize that. As most people know, I write and I've promoted and propagated the idea that we want to keep our seniors in their homes, and we need to find ways to do that. And by doing that, it does save money.
Right.
So no doubt,
Absolutely.
no doubt that
a tremendous amount. I mean, my parents came over the other day for dinner and handed me their policies for long-term care insurance, and that is essentially the caregiving coverage.
That's right. That's what we have.
Yeah, and boy, is that a great benefit if you've bought into it early enough. That is, because it can also be very expensive.
It can be, but we bought into it, I guess, about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But we were still up in age, and I've had to kick in our caregiver. Right. I started first at 10 at night until 7 in the morning, and then Russ was taking a spill, and I tried to help him, and I took the spill also, and I thought, no, it's going to 24/7. And we do have long-term care insurance, and it pays roughly a third of the entire bill.
But it's substantial. It's a substantial amount.
I mean, it's like getting a discount in some way.
It helps.
And the big thing, it keeps you in your home.
That's right, and we don't have to pay the premiums for him. We will pay them for me, but not for him, because he's using it now.
He's utilizing it, correct.
He's using it now. And like I said, it pays a third, but a third is a third.
Absolutely. A third is better than zero.
Oh, absolutely. I wish it was half or more, but it isn't. So.
But when we talk about affordability, we have to find ways how other countries around the world are keeping their seniors in their homes, and ask the question why we are not. And we can already tell you that in Scandinavian countries, those countries are taxed personally on a very much higher level.
Much higher level,
than we are here. But to be honest with you, running a business here in Santa Clarita for over 30 years, I would have in the long run rather have had the coverage. I'm paying higher taxes because my tax rate was easily over 50%, easily. And if you add on all the premiums that you had to pay for health care for your staff and family, that it was very expensive. And I would have rather have paid that toward taxes, so that in the long run, like in the Scandinavian countries, I would have been sitting back and saying, okay, I've got my health care covered. And as well in their countries, they've got their retirement covered. And what the biggest fear of seniors compared to Scandinavian countries is that the seniors here live in fear. They live in fear. They won't get health care. They won't be living in their homes. And the out-of-pocket will put them on the street, and they'll become homeless. You go to the Scandinavian countries, and you really don't see homeless people.
No, and I was just talking with a colleague of mine in the hospital who had a patient Actually, the patient's wife was the one that was in distress. It wasn't the patient, because the patient has pretty advanced dementia. But the distress was around the fact that there's no longer any more nursing home days under the Medicare plan coverage. So now what? Here is a person who needs 24-hour care, which the wife can't afford at home, can no longer go back to the nursing home because they've maximized all their Medicare days.
Yikes.
They probably don't qualify for Medicaid or Medi-Cal here in California because they're in that middle income level. And what do?
You get a lien put on your house, or you lose your house because you can't pay your taxes.
Yep.
Then you face the possibility that you're going to be on the street.
Isn't that just terrible?
And that's what we are seeing in our system right now. There are solutions, though. So, for our listeners, I mean, we're painting a dark cloud here, but, there are solutions. But I just don't see government playing a role in those solutions. I think the public has to come together and figure out ways of how they're going to do this with some kind of task force, and not let the government get in, because understand that we are a lot of things are government run. The VA is government run, and they get their hands on things, and when you talk about universal health care and Medicare for all, is government going to be able to do the job in the same way that they're doing it for the VA and our veterans? I'm skeptical of that, but I think the public should be allowed to join in on this and help make decisions.
Speaking of Scandinavia, there's a few little cities that have been profiled in the news in Denmark, I believe it is, where individual seniors, in fact, can live with a family, and it's almost like a co-op. Where people are just taking care of each other. They're taking care of their neighbors. It's a much more neighborly, let's take care of one another sort of environment.
The village.
It is a village. And I think that, the fact that you're bringing up that maybe we should exclude government out of this whole mess, I absolutely agree. I think we need to start getting creative and start thinking about how can we help our seniors, but also help all the different generations. It's not just about the senior population. How can we get more people involved in caring for our seniors, keeping them in a home setting, and really maximize some other opportunities for folks who have limited means, perhaps, and need shelter or any type of home setting, but at a minimal cost. But then they're also there to help caregive.
Exactly. But how about those people who are in their 30s or mostly in their 40s and 50s and looking possibly at retirement, but worrying about will they have enough?
Yes.
People will say to me, should I retire now? Or, I didn't retire. I should have retired later. And all these should have, did it. But they don't, they will ask me, when should I retire? I remember this constantly. And, and I tell them, there's no way to know that answer. If you're in good health, you could live to 100. But who's going to pay for that? They're having that worry. We need to take that worry away, because, if you're in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and you're going to be okay, you're more productive. You're happier.
Yes.
You aren't tailgating somebody on the 5 freeway, right, Barb?
Absolutely.
Right, or cutting them off.
Well, let's continue this in a moment. Eagle Eye over here is giving me the, you know what? It's time to take a break. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS.
There's a classic diner in town that combines old-fashioned dining with a hip 21st century menu. They call it trendy nostalgia. They call it Cathy's Deli. Cathy's Deli is a classic diner. Homemade jams, freshly baked breads, and even unique flavored coffee creamers made on site. Experience the fresh, new, yet old-fashioned taste of your local hometown diner. Serving traditional and unique breakfast and lunch delights every day from 7 to 3. Cathy's Deli on Lyons Avenue off Wayman Court.
Bullies. That's what a local newspaper called Katie Hill's campaign. It reported on her campaign's lies, misrepresentations, and relentless attacks. It's time for civility. Enough is enough.
Like you, I'm sick and tired of the political rhetoric from my opponent. It's meant to scare voters. So I want to tell you exactly what I believe. I'm Steve Knight, and I believe Social Security and Medicare must be protected. I believe our seniors have earned and deserve these benefits, and I believe that our veterans should get the best care available. That's why I fight for our seniors and our veterans every day.
Steve Knight served our country in the United States Army, spent 18 years as an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department, and still lives in Palmdale, where he and his wife Lily raised their 2 sons. Named one of the most bipartisan members of Congress, Steve Knight works across party lines to get results for our community, from protecting Social Security and Medicare to standing up for veterans. Steve Knight fights for us.
I'm Steve Knight, and I approve this message.
Your hometown station.
Life takes us in different directions sometimes, and we may not always have computer access for breaking news. KHTS has a solution. Text alerts. Breaking news you need to know about fast. Freeway closed? We'll text you directly. Emergency police activity in the Santa Clarita Valley? We'll text you. Sign up now for text alerts at hometownstation.com. KHTS has your back.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
AV Equipment Rental is your local rental store. No matter how big or how small your home project is, AV Equipment Rental has the tool you need to do the job right. From painting to plumbing, landscaping to automotive, their knowledgeable staff will make sure you get the right tool for the right price. In fact, they'll even help you load it into your car. I bet you didn't know they have propane to fill your barbecue tank, and there's no minimum quantity. With a large supply of tools and a helpful and professional staff with a hometown service attitude, AV Equipment Rental is your local Santa Clarita rental authority. Stop by AV Equipment Rental today on Railroad Avenue in Newhall.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Welcome back to the Senior Hour. I'm Barbara Cochran with my co-host, Dr. Jean Dorio, on your hometown station, KHTS. I think I got caught, didn't I?
No live mic. We had a lively discussion during our break.
I know. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, not ask you, but just discuss the people, the young people now have not been taught to put aside something for the future. And that is one of the biggest problems we have. And I think that's why you have so many people not being able to stay at home. They are being put someplace. Somebody else is paying for it, or Medicare or insurance or something. But why aren't people being taught to put money aside for the future? They start doing it when they're in possibly their 40s and 50s.
Right, it's a
and
little
they
late.
don't have enough.
It's a little too late at that point.
That's too late.
And I've seen people who have put away for their whole life for 40 or 50 years, and now they feel squeezed.
That's
that
right.
They're not going to have enough money because the cost of health care has increased dramatically.
Absolutely.
It's escalated. And, for some drugs, think about this. There are some drug treatments that could cost $250,000 for a treatment plan.
Yeah.
$250,000. I mean, if you have a nest egg, and my estimate right now is, and every year, Every few years it has changed, but if you want to retire comfortably in the United States, especially in California, you need $2 million.
Wow.
If, let's say, you save that $2 million and you get a bill for $250,000, that's a big chunk of your nest egg. And, you know, you're going to be kind of flipping out, like, how did this happen? And, you know, it's not fair for our seniors to make choices as, do I live or do I die? Do I pay for this or do I not? You know, that should never, you know, it's Sophie's choice. You should not have to make a decision like that ever in life about yourself, your loved ones, or a family member or a friend in the neighborhood. You should not have to do that. But it's happening every day.
Yes, it is. And I feel so fortunate that we have put money away. We have made investments. And Russ said the other day, what's all this costing? Because I write all the bills and checks out of 2 or 3 different accounts. And I said, well, I gave him the amounts, and he said, wow, it's going down. And I said, but what you have done and what we have done is we have made those investments. We have enough that we can take care of the situation here with the 24/7
Well, I think
care.
also it's also our responsibility now to start getting creative and start finding
That's what
means.
I'm talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
finding means to not just rely on having to write a check. So let's try to explore and maximize whatever benefits we got. So, for instance, if you're a veteran, there are so many benefits tied into the VA system you need to access if you're a veteran, if any of the listeners out there are veterans. It's a tremendous amount. Home health coverage, caregiving options, probably even affordable housing. There's a lot of things out there that are available to our veterans.
Well, Russ is a veteran. So where do you even
Is he
begin?
service connected?
Yeah, he was in the.
Does he actually go to the VA?
No,
Has he ever
he
gone to the? He needs to get.
Ever?
No, he's never gone.
Oh,
to the
because
VA.
he needs to be
He
checked
needs
in.
to get checked in.
Really?
Yes. And based on the degree of service connection, they're open to so many different types of benefits. So on the other extreme, what we deal with oftentimes within the hospital setting, and when a patient is so terminally ill and they have to go on to hospice, well, our VA here in Sepulveda, just in North Hills, just over the hill, has an inpatient hospice setting where they can have full hospice care for the last 3 months of their lives.
That is
and
great.
that's just for veterans. So the point is that we need to access what's available to us and maximize these opportunities. If you can't get to your doctor, we need to find a means for that care to come to you. Okay? So there's lots of things that we need to explore for each individual recipient of Medicare that isn't necessarily just on paper on face value, but it's there.
And
it's
we
there.
need to be better educated on how to access them.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Very
it's
good.
interesting because when Russ, he worked for the school district, and they didn't take out for Medicare.
Yes.
So
yes.
we have been paying ever since he retired. We've been paying into Medicare each month.
Right. Right.
And that's amazing to me that school districts.
Yeah, they have a
Don't-
whole separate
Oh, yeah.
health plan.
They
They
do.
don't pay into Medicare, I guess.
But
Yeah.
it's a very
Not sure
good
why.
And it's
health
amazing
Yes, it is
how,
very
as we
good.
talk about the system, some people do not have Medicare at all. And
That's correct.
I'm sorry, but equal opportunity in America, everybody should have the same thing. If you're homeless or if you're president of the United States, we should all have the same thing. Then we have a reason to be able to fight for those things and be balanced in those things. But there are just some people who want to have better.
Yeah.
And in terms of health care, I don't think that's fair.
More doesn't necessarily mean it's better.
No, and I've seen it already in medicine. It does not mean that. So
That's correct.
always a great conversation.
Oh,
We're
thanks
coming
again.
in.
Thank you so much.
We're
I always have
discussing
fun coming.
palliative
Happy
care
Halloween.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks.
happy Halloween.
Appreciate it.
I'm actually wearing a coat for once. I haven't worn one in like 10 years.
Well, my neighbor said to me this morning, "That's a great costume you have on," and I looked at her and I went, "I'm not wearing a costume," but and then I had to think about that a little bit, and I thought, I think I just got insulted. So yes, happy Halloween to everybody, and don't forget, turn your clocks back on Sunday, and check your alarms and everything else that go along with it.
Yes.
So Marwa, thanks for being on the show
Thank
again.
you
It's
so
always
much.
a great discussion, and I think we have to become creative, just like you said. Appreciate all your input on that. We are sponsored by Comfort Keepers in-Home Care and Advanced Audiology. Listen to us next week on the Senior Hour. Now go and enhance your quality of life.